I love Persona 5. It's a great game and has great story and some great character back. Battles are so stylish and same goes for the UI. However, I am not talking about the game today. Unfortunately, I make videos on anime, not game. Fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your view, we have an anime adaptation of the game. I normally try to ignore the source material when it comes to these videos, but in this case, I really can't. If the title of the video doesn't make it obvious, let's start off with the story. Persona 5, the animation follows Ren Amamiya after he is forced to transfer to Shujin Academy after being put on probation for a crime that he didn't really commit. In his time there, he meets other people like himself who are labelled as misfits by adults around them. When trying to attend school for the first day, Ren finds himself at the school, but instead of it being a school, it's a medieval castle, and he finds this alongside another student, Ryuji. After awakening to his persona powers, Ren finds out that the school looks like a castle because the rule of the school has distorted views of the school, and thus has a palace. After a series of drama, Ren and Ryuji, along with Morgana, a cat they first encountered on their first visit to the school, and Ann, a victim of the teacher's abuse, defeat the distorted teacher, causing a change of heart, and form the infamous Phantom Thieves. From here, the gang bring more people into the group, defeat more corrupted adults, and learn the truth of the metaverse, the world that the palace is forming, whilst attempting to reform society. P5A is lucky that the game at its core has a great story, however the anime butchers it a fair amount. The game takes roughly 96 hours to finish the main story. When you try to get it down to a 2-core anime with a few OVAs, you're gonna have some issues. The story's pace takes a hit. An arc that takes 10 plus hours to beat in the game only takes 4 episodes to complete, and there are clear signs of cutting content, which is fair enough. There are some fillery bits in the game, but when you have such a emotional scene like Shiho's attempted suicide cut down to a few minutes, and then Ren and Ryuji run out after Mishima, it just kills any emotion in the scene. Character development is another thing that takes a hit. Ryuji's track and field art is completed way too quickly for my liking, and the other main character arcs don't even get that much else aside from maybe a passing mention in an episode. It takes a while for the other confidants from the game to even appear, and when they do, they don't appear until like episode 19, and it's a shame because some of the confidants are so interesting and gripping, and it really doesn't make the final special make much sense in the end, with all of them chatting their support for the Phantom Thieves. Somehow, Ren ends up lacking even more personality than his video game counterpart. While it's up to the player how Ren, or Akira if you wish to call him that, acts, he has this underlying snarky, sassy side to him, and the anime attempts that, but doesn't do it really all that well. He just comes across as an emotions character to me, even with their attempt at showing his struggle with Goro Akechi in the first special episode. That's another arc that got ruined. Goro Akechi had a sense of redeemability by the time he met his end in the game, but in the anime, he just comes across as this dickhead who decided to change his mind, and he lacks little development. The animation is disappointing to say the least. When you consider how A1 Pictures performed with the well-made and well-directed Daybreakers OVA, the animation lacks any identity, which is a shame because if Persona 5 is known for one thing, it's its immense amount of style. That's not to say it doesn't have it. The first episode looks absolutely brilliant. After that, the animation just becomes lackluster and feels really rushed in places. The team clearly had an idea of what they wanted. It'll become clearer when I'm talking about the opening, but it just seems that someone pushed them to release the episode. The opening just flip-flopped. Break Into Breakout at first is this disappointing mishmash of clips from the anime, but the second version is great and starts to give the show its identity. Then the first version of Dark Sun comes out, and it returns just using clips from the show. It's edited like a fan opening on YouTube, and this is for most of the second half of the show. From episode 26 onwards, it has this stylized animation, and I wish the rest of the show could have looked like both of the revised endings. I feel like the director of the show, Masashi Ishihama, sorry if I butchered that, who was responsible for some of my favourite anime opening and ending, wasn't given enough freedom with the show's animation as well as the opening. And it's a shame. The revised opens are the best part of the show's animation, along with the first episodes and moments in the specials. The music is just a game's soundtrack for the most part, and it's awesome, but how it's used, at least in the first half, is a bit odd. At first the tracks just play normally, and it doesn't really synergize well with what's going on with the screen. However, it sort of fixed itself halfway through the show, after it seems like the music's been played around with for a bit. Some of the sound effects don't really connect like they would in the game. For example, the all-out attack, it doesn't sound right. I feel sad that this adaptation turned out this way, especially after the Persona 3 films were as good as they were, and same is said for the Persona 4 anime. Not golden. If I had to think about it, Persona 5 has a bigger story than the other two. The other two stories are more focused on the characters and their relationship with each other, but Persona 5 has that and more. Could have been great, it really could. Overall, P5A is just an average anime and a poor adaptation of a great game. If you play the game, don't bother watching it. If you haven't and can get the game, then do play the game. If not, then at least you have a passable anime to watch.